Dear students, hey, it's week 6, you guys, the last week of school, and today's topic is creating a persuasive ad. So remember, we talked about logos, ethos, pathos. Those are the elements that you need for persuasion, whether it's a paper or an advertisement, and you get to try your hand at something a little more creative today. Before we get going, your moment of inspiration. You are the only one who gets to decide what you will be remembered for. Taylor Swift. So just remember that. You write your own story. I want to say a note about turning in your work because this is the last week, or next week is the last week, and I am going to need to have grades done before Memorial Day. So your week 6 project, the one that I'm going to introduce today, is due next Wednesday, May 20th by 11:59 p.m. or by midnight. And any late work that you have from past projects must be turned in by that day as well. And otherwise you're not going to get credit for it. So spend this weekend making up things if you need to, so that you don't have Memorial Day weekend. And I'm not going to be grading anyway by that time, so you need to get everything in by next Wednesday. So we're going to be creating a persuasive ad. The first thing you have to do is watch this video, of course, and then you're going to open a slide deck from week 6 project. So it's just like some of the times in class when we made slides. It's the exact same thing. It's a Google slideshow. And on that, there are going to be instructions and a checklist and a rubric that you need to read. But I'm going to go over all those things in this video. And then I want you to read closely the examples. You'll be reviewing them because I will be going over those in the video. And then you get to create your public service announcement using one of those slides. Okay, and then there's another slide for you to fill out the questions explaining your ad, explaining what you chose for your ad. So you're going to get grades for both of these slides that you're going to create. Okay, one is an ad, one are questions, and then you'll turn the whole thing in. And you have to do that a little differently when you're doing slides. It doesn't have a turn in button. So there's a way to back out of it and turn it in. I can try to show you that. Okay, so let's get started. Your final project. You're going to create a public service announcement ad. So what is a public service announcement? A public service announcement is, it's also called a PSA, is an advertisement designed to raise public awareness about an important issue. So we're doing an ad, which means a print kind of ad or a digital ad that would be just a still static ad. It's not a video. That's why you're using the slides. So this is a really good example where it says, "Be alert, be stress smart." This is an ad that was put out to help people be a little bit more alert when they're crossing streets. So the claim here is, we call it a claim. That's like your, what would normally be your topic sentence, is the message, is the actual message that the advertisement is trying to get across. Be alert, be street smart. And then the way that they do that is by using logos as a rhetorical strategy or a rhetorical appeal. With this fact, every 8 minutes, a life comes to a screeching halt. So that is using logos because it's using a statistic. But the picture actually is very emotion driven, right? It's of a mom who is being hit by a car as she's crossing the street with her baby. So that makes us really feel pain, right? Feel empathy, feel sadness. And so those are 2 appeals that particular ad is using very effectively. So your instructions begin with the purpose of the assignment. The purpose is to give you an opportunity To demonstrate your knowledge of ethos, pathos, and logos, the 3 rhetorical strategies we have been working on for the past or the last few weeks. Week 5 project required you to write a paragraph about your opinion on social distancing restrictions. Remember that? You were asked to use logos, pathos, and or ethos as your rhetorical strategy. Now, week 6, we're going to use that same argument to create a public service announcement. So you're going to do a service to your audience by providing them with this recommendation that you believe in, that is your opinion, but is something you believe in, that will help them understand your argument. So you're going to present your argument or your claim, right? And that's kind of the big part of the ad, the title of the ad, and then you're going to use some of the 1 or 2 or more of the rhetorical strategies to help your audience be able to understand what you're trying to say and to believe in it, right? Or to do something if you're trying to encourage them to do something. So your first step is going to be to use slide 7 in the slideshow, because there's a lot of, this is part of the slideshow. This is page 2 or slide 2. And when you come to slide 7, that'll be a blank slide. You're going to create your own PSA advertisement based on your opinion about social distancing. So refer to your project 5 paragraph. So, you know, this can be whatever you think is appropriate for social distancing. If you don't think it's important or you don't think it's necessary, then, you know, you can have your own opinion about that, and that then becomes your advertisement, right? So remember, this is based on your own belief, but you're trying to provide a service to the public to be able to recommend a certain kind of behavior or attitude. So the first thing you have to do is, number 1, know who your audience is. Who are you going to communicate to by making this ad? How old are they? What kind of images would appeal to them? What images would support your claim? You know, what would be the most powerful images you could use to support what you're saying? What colors would be appropriate for the topic and for the audience? And then you want to make sure that your claim is really clear. So, you know, if we go back to this ad, this was really very clear. Be alert, be street smart. And of course, the combination of this with the picture, you really knew right away what they were talking about. And so that's the kind of image text combination you need to use to make it really clear. And then use images and colors, because those are always eye-catching. And use some text, but make the text minimal. So that means don't use a lot of text. You don't want to have to give people a lot to read. So here, be alert, period, be street smart, period, very short, to the point, right? Okay, and then your next step is to go to slide 8, and there's questions for you. So you just have to answer them. And they're questions to explain what you did on your advertisement. And the only thing that I'm asking you to do is to use complete sentences. So that means you're going to use commas and periods, right, and capitalization. And you're going to, anytime Google identifies mistakes, always investigate. You know, Google identifies really simple mistakes that can be corrected very easily. So utilize that tool for yourself. And then step 3 is turning in the entire slide deck by Wednesday, May 20th by midnight. Okay, so there's a way to do that where you just turn the whole thing in, and then I will grade them. So I've made you a little checklist and a reminder page that if you need to, you can always print out and check things off. The due dates up here, materials you're going to need. You just need the slideshow, the images and text that you find online, and your incredible brain, because it's going to take some thinking and some creative ideas. Your goal is to create and explain a PSA ad, public service announcement ad, okay? So the first thing is to read through the rubric, which I'll show you in a minute, on the next slide and be sure you understand how you will be graded. So the rubric is going to tell you the grade distribution. So you want to make sure that you do really well, especially in those areas that are heavily graded. Read the sample ads that are on the slideshow and the sample explanations, because these are models for how you're going to answer those questions about your own ad. And on slide 8, create your PSA using one or more of the rhetorical strategies. And then on slide 9, you're going to fill out 4 items that are going to explain your PSA ad. And you'll turn the entire slideshow in when you go back out to the Google Classroom assignment. You'll see a place to turn that in. You can share it with me too, but it's not really quite the same. I can't really grade it the same, so if you just go back out, you can turn it in right where you saw that original link. And then here's another little reminder down here. You'll be working on this in this slideshow, so there won't be another attachment. You'll create a PSA ad on slide 8. You'll answer questions on slide 9, and then you're going to turn it in before midnight, May 20th. So here's the rubric, and what that means is this is the criteria that I'm going to grade you on, and that means I've divided up, the different components of the assignment, and 3 parts are worth 30 points each, so that's a total of 90 points, so that still gets you an A. And that's the claim on the ad. Is it clear? Is it clearly stated? The public service announcement explanation, that's questions 1 and 2. The correct identification of rhetorical strategy or strategies, that's questions 3 and 4. And then, of course, correct grammar and spelling and creative use of graphics and text to produce an appealing PSA. So those are worth 10 points together. Okay, so try to proofread before you hand anything in so that you can get those extra points. So here's your example 1. You can see it has an eye-catching image on it of a red light, right? And it says, "Save lives, stop red light running." And you probably can imagine what that is, right? So that's their claim, or what their big announcement is, that this is what we want you to do. They're persuading you to stop red light running, right? That's what they're asking you to do. Remember, persuasion is all about trying to get someone to do something, or to think a certain way, or to believe something. And they use a combination of logos and pathos. But if you look down here in the explanation, you'll see that there's 4 points, and they correspond to the 4 questions you're going to have to answer about your own ad. And so the first one, the announcement informs the public about the need for drivers to stop on red lights, right? So you've probably seen people, or maybe you've even done this yourself, try to go through a yellow light before it turns red, and it turns red on you, or maybe you've just been with someone who ran a red light, and it's really dangerous. So that's their big message. The target audience is the citizens of driving age, right? Because why would they target anyone who's not driving? And then the rhetorical strategies used are first logos, where it says Florida is the 3rd most deadly state in the nation for red light running crashes. So that is a statistic, right? That is a fact. And so they start with the fact, and then they go into a pathos appeal. Save lives. The life you save may be someone you love. And of course, that's appealing to your values, right, about people you love, and also just your emotions. You can imagine what would happen if that happened to someone you love. So let's find out why these 2 things are effective. So logos is always going to be effective because it's fact, right? People trust facts. It's real information. And in this case, it's, pretty common sense, right? To stop when the traffic light is red, because, that's what you're supposed to do. There's a reason why they have them. And so for people who really are more logical thinkers, that makes sense to them. They want to see that statistic. And then pathos is effective because no one wants to think about being the reason while someone else dies, right? And or we don't want to think about losing someone in a situation like this. So as I said before, this really does play on our emotions. Example 2, the claim is join the recognized authorities who recommend testing homes for radon. So radon is a kind of poisonous element that could be in your home and you can't smell it. It's just something that, I'm not even sure how it actually occurs, but it's one of those things that you should have your house tested for. Most people have it tested when they buy a house, and so they know, what they're moving into. But a lot of people don't know about it or don't think it's a big deal, and so this is trying to claim that there are people who are in an authoritative situation, an authoritative role, that are telling you it's an important thing, right? And so, number 1, the announcement informs citizens of the dangers of radon. And the target audience is probably real estate agents, homeowners, and potential homeowners. So people who are looking for a home, people who own a home, and people who are selling homes have to be aware of this, right? So for that target audience, they figured that, the most important appeal would be ethos, because if you can use the voice of experts, the voice of authority, then you can better convince people that this is an important thing. So the ad says to join these nationally recognized health experts. And then they list all of the experts, right? So that's giving this article credibility and authority by having experts weigh in. And so, we want to hear from experts. Just like in this pandemic situation, we want to hear by the medical experts and the science experts that are going to tell us what's real about it, right? Not made up stuff, what's actually really happening. And then logos is used when the ad says studies have demonstrated that homes with high levels of radon can cause lung cancer. So that's another way to convince people that this is something important and legitimate, is to actually show them facts or show them studies that have been done. So why are the rhetorical strategies of ethos and logos effective? Well, ethos is effective because there are 6 experts, health experts, right, who are listed, and that establishes a kind of overwhelming credibility for the issue. And logos is effective because it references studies have linked radon with increased danger of lung cancer. And then the last example is this one, be a hero, save water. So that's the claim, right? And it is meant to inform citizens on the need to save water. So the first question that you're going to be asked is, what's the purpose of your PSA? And in this case, it's to inform citizens on the need to save water. Who are these citizens, or who's the target audience? All citizens, all people. And so the rhetorical strategies in this case are logos and pathos. So logos is used in the statement, only 1% of the world's water is drinkable, right? So that's a statistic, and that's fact. And then pathos, take a stand and protect a necessity for survival. So this is trying to encourage you it's playing on your beliefs, right? That you need to take a stand about something, that this is an important thing to take action about or take action on, because you have to protect our survival. And then the very last part, join the fight and protect tomorrow, is another pathos appeal. And this one is kind of appealing to people who need to know that there are other people in this fight and that you can be part of a bigger movement, right? And of course, there's a misspelling on this ad. I don't know who proofread this, but it's spelled wrong. So if you can figure out how to spell tomorrow, you have won the prize. So this is the blank paper for yours. This is your slide 8. And then slide 9 is the explanation. You're going to answer the question, what are you informing the public about? That's your claim. And then what group or groups need to hear the information? That's your target audience. What appeals or rhetorical strategies did you use to persuade? So give 2 specific examples of how you did that in your ad. And then explain why your appeals are effective. Okay, so again, you can go back to these samples and how those questions are answered, and they really give you a good idea of how to answer those. Any questions about that, then you'll have to send me a note through Google, or you can email me. Okay, so that was week 6, creating a persuasive ad. Now that you've watched the video, you can check that off your list. I want you to go to the week 6 project and open that slide deck up and review the instructions, the checklist, the rubric, look at the examples again, and then create your public service announcement. Be creative with this, be colorful. Fill out the questions about your ad, and then turn in the entire slide deck. Some things to remember: by Wednesday, May 20th, you're going to hand in the project, the last project, and then any other outstanding work that you have. So if you have some projects you missed and you want to get credit for them, I have to have them by the end of the day, Wednesday, May 20th. Okay, make it an amazing, healthy, safe, and fun summer. Bye.